I think, if I look back over the 10 years now of Ariadne history as what connects the really successful ones, and it sounds kind of obvious, but they expect success. So, when I sat down and met Nicholas Zenstrom for the first time, the founder of Skype in August '03, or Christina Domecq in '05, or Alistair Lukes, who's running Monetize, which is the global leader of mobile banking, or Seb Bishop of eSpotting, or Brent Hoberman 12 years ago with Last Minute, what all of these people kind of convey, not in an arrogant way, is just that they intend to be successful whether or not you help them on their merry way. The kind of train is leaving the station kind of attitude. And that's important for entrepreneurs to have and convey. And I'm not talking about a sense of entitlement, because that's nauseating. I am talking about a sense of confidence and expectation of success. And the way that we instill that in young people is by giving them opportunities to test their wings, to take risks, to build businesses or projects which are like businesses at early stages, to travel internationally, to do things where they can learn how to de-risk opportunities. So that doesn't have to be, just the preserve of an elite few, but that's the thing that most jumps out at you when you meet entrepreneurs, is you can sense whether or not they're going to figure it out, land on their feet, whether or not they expect success, their level of confidence. And since all entrepreneurs are salespeople, if they don't have that confidence, there's just no way that you're going to believe that they're going to be able to sell a product or service and get people to buy what they sell. I've only been in this great country for 12 years, so obviously I didn't know all of the entrepreneurs when I came, and I still don't know all of them, but what's clear is that we have some fantastic entrepreneurs. And in a way, that's kind of the elephant in the room, is because we just kind of always think, well, those entrepreneurs are going to continue to build businesses and pull us out of the market downturn and so forth. So, I personally think, which is why I set up my business to go after the opportunity, that the financing of entrepreneurship had not kept pace with the high quality of entrepreneurs in this country. We know what the fixed costs are going to be now for the next, 5, 10, 20 years. We've got a whole lot of sovereign debt to pay off. But the point is just that, can the entrepreneurs do a 4x, a 10x on the kind of top line revenue that hits the treasury in terms of taxable income? Well, if we create the right kind of environment and instill confidence in young people and in the environment to invest in high growth businesses, we could off the charts. The point is that you can have high fixed costs in terms of what you need to pay down in debt, but if you're, as a country, making so much money because your businesses are doing so well, it's okay. And that's how we have to do it. This is all about top line now. People are focusing on how do we reduce costs. Okay, fine, we've got to do that. There's only so many quangos that you can kill. There's only so many salary cuts that you can impose on public sector employees. Yes, we've added 1 million new public sector employees over the last 13 years. Personally, I think that was a mistake. But the point is that you're not going to be able to undo all of that in 2 years or 6 months. Really, what we have to do is just focus on growing the camembert. How do we get a bigger pie? How do we make more money? How do we grow the profitability of British enterprise? I think it's very just reassuring that we've got the government that we have now. It was, I'm a very optimistic person, but even I would get, just kind of horrified with all of the private finance initiatives and tidy little corners that we were pocketing money that we would owe for future generations and so forth. I'm somebody who likes to live within my means. My businesses have always had very low fixed costs, and so it makes me extremely nervous when people are spending money that they don't know how they're going to pay that. I think that was causing a lack of confidence just in general. You could say, well, it was because of the banking crisis and all of that. No, actually, whenever you live outside of your means, you create a problem for you and probably the small group of people around you as well. And that's what we did for a very long time, is we overspent. We lived outside of our means. So I don't think that this government, currently the coalition government, is going to do that. And they seem like they're thinking through. I like the 10-point test that George Osborne was applying to any kind of public, could private enterprise do it better? There were like 10 questions you have to ask every time you ask the government to do something. I think that's a very good thing to do. Not that they're not very well-meaning people that operate in the government, but it's a service provider to business. Business has to be in the driver's seat. Just simply because governments can't make money, they can't generate revenue. Only business can. So, that's got to be the engine. Yeah, I think it's both. To be honest, I don't think it's hard and fast. I think there's people. For example, I've met quite a few entrepreneurs that I don't think that they're extremely high IQ. People always think that entrepreneurs must be extremely smart people. I think it's focus, determination. They don't give up when other people normally would. I say very frequently monetize, and Alistair Lukey's, when he won his first client, he texted me from Edinburgh and he said 192 meetings, 79 nights away from my wife. And the point is that most people would have given up. No rational person goes to 192 meetings and overnight 79 times to win a client. Most people give up, and that's the difference between being successful or not, is that kind of borderline irrationality, the obsession. And that obviously has downsides. There's certainly no place for work-life balance. Sometimes it goes horribly wrong. Sometimes these people do become megalomaniacs. But what we have to recognize is that society owes them a huge debt, because they are the reason why society moves forward in step changes. If we look at why did we go from this, whether it was from the Industrial Revolution to the next phase, to the internet, to all of these things, it's because there's a group of people who choose to live abnormal lives to bring the new thing to life, right? And that is the debt that we owe to the entrepreneurial core group of people in society. Well, I think it's a great opportunity to give people an opportunity to pitch. It's always the exchange of ideas is something I've been involved in all of my life. I'm an old English literature major. I like ideas. I like talking. I like the sharing of ideas. I'm interested in what people have to say, how they present themselves. I'm a big believer in form as content. How you present is as important as what it is. And so, the opportunity to listen to some good pitches, be able to give some advice. That's what the guys on the BBC say that they like that about my contribution at Dragon's Den, is just they say, oh, you always ask such good questions. Well, I don't know, but you try to help people along the way, just to hopefully maybe give them some guidance, a steer, etc. So it just seemed like the right thing to do. It seemed like a well thought through program. You got to practice. When you have only something like 3 minutes, you can't wing it. Americans and Brits are both. We think that we can do things, flying off the seat of our pants kind of thing. And when you've got 3 minutes, you've got to come out of the gate and you've got to know what you're saying every second. Boom, boom, boom. So you do have to do that exercise, which is silly, in front of the mirror, with the clock, and get practice of 3 minutes. Did you say all the right points? Maybe you have the tape recorder, you listen to yourself and say, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I go, there's all sorts of, we had an entrepreneur, I won't say who he was, but he, when he first came to us in 2003, his speech pattern was that he would say something, he would go, and, but every time he would say something, he would go, and, until finally you go, Kevin, stop it, don't say it anymore, because people just do things, whether it's a nervous tick or they think that they're being oh so eloquent. So you got to practice, you really do. Well, because they asked me to twice. They asked me to in 2005, and I said 20 days of filming. I said, I've got a job to do. I can't go off and, go do fun stuff for 20 days. And then they said, okay, well, fine, maybe we'll come back to you later. And so when they did come back to me, I said, well, it's a second time. I don't know if there'll be a third time that they'll ask, so I better. And really, to be honest, I have a portfolio company called Enrich Social Productions, which is behind one of the live events, Lucy Evans, who was the artist who won One Click to Fame. One Click to Fame is one of Enrich Social Productions' formats that they have taken to the web and rolled out through Tesco. And so Enrich takes television formats to the web, retail, etc. And so when Dragon's Den said, well, we're kind of taking the existing Dragon's Den format, interpreting it to the web, cross-platform, all this kind of stuff, I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. That's kind of what we're doing with our business, right? And so I thought it would be even more interactive than it is. I thought, I think there's still a lot of scope to expand and explore the franchise of Dragon's Den. It is, one of the top 10 brands of the BBC. There's very smart people over there at the cross-platform productions, and I know that they want to do a lot more. So, so as long as they want me involved, I'm happy to work with them to shape the franchise. And I think what's interesting is that it definitely has become part of the lingua franca of this country in terms of young people who kind of start to learn about business, for better or for worse, through some of the things that they see online or on TV with Dragon's Den and The Apprentice, etc. Well, I had a big kind of, frankly, I had to get over something in deciding I wanted to be a part of the franchise because I'm not rude to entrepreneurs. That's just not what Julie Meyer does. She does not. I'm never rude to entrepreneurs because I have enormous respect for them. So I kind of gave it a 50-50 chance that it would work out because I just thought they won't be interested in my kind of nice guy coaching style. So I think the fact that they seem to want to work with me means that there's enough spectrum with the BBC's interpretation of that Dragon's Den franchise that, the TV Dragons can be a certain way, I can be a different way, there can be all sorts of different ways that will continue to evolve. Sometimes I think that it needs a makeover and a refresh, and then I say, I can't control that. All I can do is control what I do, right? So to the extent, like, the current online series is online at BBC Dragon's Den, to the extent that it affects or influences, hopefully positively, a couple of entrepreneurs and some of the questions and the interaction, I do try to draw out some of the lessons that I've learned in working with businesses for the past 12 years in this country, and hopefully that helps. Hopefully that's of interest and useful to someone.